name is Deborah, and I'm going to be doing a live, never seen this lady before, never even considered doing a review on TikTok, but I got some new systems and I'm checking it out. So follow along with me, my sisters, as we listen to TikTok together. I know you guys listen anyway. So let's watch what she has to say. She's going to give us a story time about her experience. I think it's about cheating. Yeah, let's get into it. Now, bear with me because, like I told you, never done this before.
So I want to do like a little personal story time. I never do personal story times, but the reason why I want to give you guys a personal story time on this specific topic is because I see that a lot of women are believing for marriage. And I think that that is a beautiful thing. I think it's a wonderful thing. But I also see that there are a lot of you that are believing for somebody else's spouse, whether you're believing for a man that is in the process of divorce or you're believing for a man who is separated and telling you he's going to get divorced. You're bombarding, you think you're bombarding heaven, but really you're bombarding the gates of hell.
I don't want to go too far because I'm a counselor by profession and I like to listen to people. So I think I heard her say something interesting. Let's go back to it.
Whether you're believing for a man that is in the process of divorce or you're believing for a man who is separated and telling you he's going to get divorced, you're bombarding, you think you're bombarding heaven, but really you're bombarding the gates of hell with your request to be unified, to be in a union with somebody else's spouse.
Okay, so according to her, you are bombarding the gates of hell if you are praying to be unified with somebody else's spouse. Welcome to Kofu Wisdom, my sisters. You know what I'm all about. This is about biblical marriage and biblical marriage. Mm-hmm. Heads up. Includes includes the option of polygyny. That means a man is allowed to take more than one woman as his wife. So if he is married, that makes no difference. However, your status is what you need to keep in mind. Are you married? If you're married, get off my channel. Like, really, you shouldn't be considering this particular discussion right now because you stay with your husband, you stay with your shepherd, you stay with your man. You don't commit adultery because it's the woman's status that determines whether or not this action that she's going to describe is adulterous. If you are a married woman, then indeed do not look at another man. But if you are a single woman and he's a married man, I know, pick up the stones and stone Deborah. But it's in the Bible, it's legal, it is called polygyny. A man is allowed to have another wife. Okay, so here we go. We're going to continue this discussion, and she doesn't agree with me.
And it's not going to work, sis. And it's not going to work, bro. And I'm about to tell you a story. And this is a real, valid, legitimate story. Okay. This really happened to
Okay,
me. And this happened to me.
to
I'm
you.
not about to tell you a secondhand story, a third hand
Okay,
story. This
awesome.
happened to me. Okay.
Mhm.
So in 2018, I reconnected with my high school sweetheart. Now, at this time, he had been lying and saying that he was divorced. He was telling his family he was divorced. He told me he was divorced. He had this whole, y'all, by the way, excuse my nails. My daughter did them. Okay. So I'm wearing them. So
Sister, we don't care about your nails. But anyways, so you met this guy, and he likes you because he was your high school sweetheart. Wonder if you even lost your virginity to him. Basically, he was the first guy. Yeah, and he still likes you. And he says he's divorced. Here we go.
but he had been telling everybody that he knew that he was divorced. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the wife, she couldn't defend herself because she didn't even know that this lie was being told. Because we lived in Arkansas, she lived in another state on the other coast of the country
Okay.
or on the other side of the country.
Mhm.
So he's lying and saying he's divorced. We end up reconnecting shortly after we get pregnant. I'm gonna try to speed it along. Shortly
Wait. What do you mean? Speed it along. Hold up. So you got into bed with him, my sister. Yeah. And you got pregnant. That means you had, a leading up to this reconnection is a deep connection. obviously. You got pregnant. So he has a wife because you said you're going to tell me that he's not really divorced. Okay, we know that already. And you're the side chick, right? You're going to go like that. Let's continue.
Shortly after I get pregnant. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The pregnancy from the beginning was hell. I was hemorrhaging. I got pneumonia. I was sick the whole pregnancy.
Sorry to hear that. That's
Just
really
all the
sad.
things and
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So around the baby was due in April of 2019. Around January of 2019, I started experiencing the symptoms of preeclampsia, but we didn't know that at the time. I actually didn't get diagnosed with preeclampsia until after the events happened that I'm about to tell y'all about. So I started experiencing the symptoms of preeclampsia. At the end of January, I believe I had to be hospitalized for 2 days. They stabilized me, sent me back home. Um, and I progressed through the month of February and everything. And then on February 21st, I was helping him move his stuff into his new apartment, and we ended up having sex.
Sorry. I love my sisters, you guys like we don't take any responsibility. Like we just ended up having sex. You like the guy, okay? Of course you're going to have sex with him. And you were pregnant with this child. Congrats. Sorry about the issues. That is sad that you had medical issues. Continue.
And that is the day when God was like, enough is enough. Um, so we have sex. I go home. I end.
Wait. That's the day that y'all told you enough is enough while you were having sex? Or after, obviously, but it's in the same day. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Let's go.
I start as soon as I get home. I start feeling these extreme, um, these extreme pains in my abdominal area,
Okay. Yeah, sad. Mhm.
and at first I'm just kind of like, I gotta go to the bathroom, like what's going on. I guess I just need to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom. The pains get worse, and then I start to feel lightheaded. So I go to stand up so that I can go and get in the bed, but when I stand up I collapse to the floor. I lost my vision. I lost most of my vision, not all of it. I lost most of my vision. I could barely talk to tell anybody what was wrong with me, but there was no bleeding or anything. So there was a nurse in close proximity to where I was. She ended up checking me. I hadn't dilated any. Cervix still closed. So they call the ambulance. The ambulance comes and gets me. I really wasn't allowing anybody to touch me at that point because I was in so much pain.
Mhm.
They get me to the hospital. We go through all the tests. They get me on all the monitors and everything. I'm not having any contractions, but I'm in severe pain. They can't find a vein. So they're blowing all of my veins, trying to get an IV in me. And I'm pissed off because I'm in pain. The nurses are pissed off because they're having to deal with this crazy lady. And it seems like nothing is wrong with her except for her blood pressure is low and she keeps saying she's in pain. So
Okay, bear with me. Both of you need to call for wisdom because normally I've never done a review like this. So I want to say, first of all, thank you to this content creator for sharing her story on TikTok. It's going to go on a little bit longer, and I'm going to listen to her because that's what we should do, listen. And I am saying right now that I am sorry for her and all these women who do have complications in pregnancy. It's not an easy journey. May Yah heal you if you are pregnant right now and having that. So, this is not to laugh at it, criticize any of the pain she's going through. I'm just trying to go to the theological part of the story that eventually will get there. But in the meanwhile, let's say prayers for our sisters, okay? And we're going to continue.
um, they do an ultrasound. They look, they don't see anything at all, but they diagnosed me with a kidney infection, and they put me in the part of the hospital where they keep like high risk moms for observation. So throughout the night, my baby stops moving. So they come in the room, they're trying to flip me, in different positions to see if they can get the baby to move. They're trying to keep me on the monitors to make
Mm.
sure that, her heart is beating and everything. So at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I just got tired of them. Well, it might have been 12, like the late 12 a.m. hour. I got tired of them flipping me around and stuff. And I just looked at them and I said, look, can y'all just deliver my baby? Of course, I'm like a little bit more distressed. I'm crying, I'm in pain. And I'm like, can y'all just deliver the baby? And one of the nurses was like, no, we can't. You're not far enough along yet. And as soon as she's saying that, another nurse comes in the room and she's like, actually, her doctor said we're going to start prepping her for a C-section. So they had to do general anesthesia because I had no epidural. We were not preparing for a baby that night. Um, I go under general anesthesia, and as much pain as I'm in, I genuinely believe that I was going under general anesthesia and that I was not coming back out. Like, that was the thought process that I had at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I was fine with that as long as they saved my baby.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wake up the next day, 8 a.m., and the doctor is kind of explaining to me what happened. He's explaining to me, mind you, they put me out at 1. Okay. I don't wake up until 7
Mm-hmm.
or until 8. So he's explaining to me, like, the reason why, your recovery is taking so long is because we had to stop your C-section. We had to stop mid C-section to get a vascular surgeon because there was so much blood that we thought that you had severed something. He was like, I've delivered babies your age, and I'm in my 30s now.
Mm.
He was like, I've been delivering babies for a long time. I've delivered babies that are now your age. I have never in my life seen anything like this. He said that they pulled out a blood clot that was the size of a jello mold.
Oh, so
For
sorry.
Black people,
Oh,
that's like a
that's
bundt cake.
terrible. So sorry.
I
Mm-hmm.
think it's called a bundt cake.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled out a fairly large jello mold.
Mm.
Um, a fairly large jello mold size blood clot. Um, he said that they done at that. My bad, my camera stopped. My phone stopped.
It's okay.
But he said at that point that they had done 3 blood transfusions and they were working on my 4th. Um, and the baby was intubated. She couldn't breathe on her own. She basically needed like caffeine for her brain to, keep processing and stuff like it needed to.
Mm-hmm.
She had a PIC line. She had a feeding tube in her belly button at that point. We went to go see her, like the most just tubes coming from everywhere.
No,
Okay. It
dear.
was a very, very, very like startling sight.
Mm.
So, like I said, at this point, I still had no idea that this man was married. Fast forward, we get her out the NICU. 6 weeks later, she's home. June of that same year, his phone is going off. I pick the phone up, and there is a message on Facebook Messenger from the woman that is supposed to be his ex-wife that says, so when are we going to talk about getting a divorce?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The reason why I'm telling y'all this story, I'm not crying my eyes watering. The reason why I'm telling y'all this
Mm.
story is, number one, some of y'all need to run for your lives. Literally. You need to run for your life.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, y'all need to stop sleeping with these married people. Number one,
I'm going to go a little bit back because she's going to sum up the sad story, and it was really sad. Again, apologies, but she's making a correlation between the illness and the trouble that she was having pregnant while she was pregnant, the correlation with the fact that she was pregnant for a married man, right? Now, she's saying that she didn't know that he was married, and I find that a little bit hard to believe, but let's just give her a pass that she honestly didn't know the man was married or on or had a commitment to another woman, because we're not talking about state licenses here. That's another thing that we discuss on Call for Wisdom. And Brother Mike Allen has awesome stuff. Go over to Digging in the Word with Brother Mike Allen, Digging in the Word. I'll give you a link to his short that he has in his Bible study about state marriage certificates. They are not required in the Torah. You don't need a piece of paper from the state saying that you are married. Okay. So, because she thinks that marriage means a state certificate, she's waiting for the state certificate also to call a divorce. Right. And so the man, she's thinking that if he shows her that piece of paper, he no longer has any ties to this other woman. Now, the question I have for you, especially for you Torah observant believers, if I'm speaking to sisters, but if there's a brother out there who also knows the Torah and knows it, the question I'm going to ask before I forget it is about divorce. Like that paper there, if he had showed it to her and before he had sex with her, would that make any difference if he was still committed to this first woman? He didn't actually divorce her biblically. Like he didn't give her the Moses biblical bill of divorce. He still loved her. He still cared for her. He still, if they had children, was still providing. He was still seeing her in his eyes as his wife, and he did not give her a divorce in his biblical way. Now, the state might say so, or the wife might give him a piece of paper saying that she has initiated the divorce, did it all on her own, which is like a no fault divorce thing going on. So, the point I'm trying to say is that even if you have a certificate from the state saying that you are divorced, does that mean that the man is all in the clear? That's the question. Does that mean anything? Because really, she's looking for a monogamous relationship, and that's where everything gets all complicated. If she was a Torah observant woman, which she's not, she's a Christian, and in a general space, Christianity still holds on to the state marriage certificate. So, as a Christian, she's waiting for this love of her life to also show her that before she gives her heart to him and before he can claim her as his wife. Now, obviously, he wanted to claim her as his wife because he's insisting that he's divorced. It was not just sex. I'm sure he loved her. I'm not sure, I'm not there, but he gives the impression that she and him have a deep connection since young age and they want to further the relationship, and hopefully he was possibly whispering things in his ears. I know I'm adding to the story, but anyways, let's just say hypothetically he was whispering things in his ears related to marrying her, this woman, after he got the state certificate saying he's divorced. Had he known about polygyny, had he known that it is biblically acceptable for a man to have more than one woman, two wives, two sheep, a shepherd who can afford it can have two sheep, a man who can afford it can have two wives. It is very much biblical. We're not going to go into that today. But had she thought about that, and had she accepted that, and had he accepted that, I wonder, maybe he would have said, you know what, I'm not giving up the first wife. Actually, she's cool. We'll work on our issues, that we have issues, but we'll work on them. In the meanwhile, would you like to be my second wife? She probably will say, hell to the no. But hey, he could have asked her that. So, because he didn't have that kind of discussion that I'm imagining in my mind, here we go in the scenario where this woman now is suffering because she's going to give you, sister, some advice. And we'll continue with the advice. All right, here we go.
Some of y'all need to run for your lives, literally. Literally.
Run,
You need to
Forrest,
run
run.
for your life.
Run.
Second of all,
Mm.
y'all need to stop sleeping with these married people.
Mm. Mm.
Quit sleeping with married people.
Sisters, quit sleeping with married men. Yeah, she's right. He has to marry you too, because if it's not, it's fornication. If you're single and a married man is just hitting it and running, you know, slash and dash, that is not a commitment towards you, and therefore you're not in a marriage covenant because he didn't claim you. Another video, we'll do it soon, about how that looks like, right? And I've covered it in so many other episodes. If you're new to Call for Wisdom, please go check up our list of episodes about biblical marriage. All right. But again, you need to know your status in this relationship before you open your legs. You definitely need to know that you are a wife to him, you're committed to him, you're courting him with that, knowing that. Okay. But if you don't and you're just having a hookup, a friendship with benefits, old time, let's, see what was there, rekindle the fire. Mm-hmm. I think I agree with her. You have to be cautious. Continue.
I genuinely believe that the only reason why God spared my life
Mm-hmm.
is because I had no idea. But the principles of the kingdom, whether you know or not, the principles of the kingdom still apply. The principles of God still apply. Okay. And then I also want y'all to think about this. While that man or that woman is telling you, hey, I'm separated, I'm getting a divorce or whatever, you don't know what that spouse is at home praying for. And God don't let it be somebody that understands covenant.
Well, irrelevant of what the spouse is praying for, I would never know. You would never know. You're absolutely right. But that is also irrelevant. Yeah, it doesn't matter what she's praying for. This is all about the man involved. The man is the one who takes in wives, right? He's the one who runs his household. He is the one in charge of the decision of who he wants into his household. Now, if you, as a single woman, my sister, are living at home with your father, he should go and ask your father for permission. And you should always have a spiritual head over you, a father, a cover, a brother, an uncle, somebody that he can go and approach and say, I would like to have this lady as my wife. Hmm, okay. So this has nothing to do with the other wives or the other wife. It has to do with him. And he needs to approach you for marriage through a cover, a father, an uncle, somebody else, and then ask you to. Okay. So that's what I'm going to suggest. And it has nothing to do with whatever the other lady is praying for. And when you are praying, you respectfully pray for her, but not against her in your prayers, because Yah doesn't answer those prayers either. If you're praying for the spouse to be somehow hit by a bus so that you can get the man all for yourself, that is evil. That is witchcraft. That is evil prayers. Those are not going towards Yah, that's going towards the devil, right? And again, it's the monogamy only false doctrine that stirs up women to be jealous like this, so that we are praying against our sisters and saying no evil things for them, instead of praying, Lord, open and soften the wife's heart and let her understand polygyny and let her understand her and submit to her husband's leadership, because obviously he's interested in getting another woman. Pray for her spirits to be, her eyes to be open and her ears to be open, and pray for her, encourage her, because if you were put in that position, you need to be empathetic towards how it would feel. And you know, if you're a sister, the jealousy, the rage, the disappointment, especially if you've not been detoxed from feminist ideology and from the false doctrine of monogamy only. I mean, monogamy is not wrong, but it's the monogamy only walls that God did not put there. Okay, that's when it gets confusing. So she's going to continue. And again, I've never seen this before. She's almost done. And once she's done, I'm going to end. But here, let's finish it up.
Please don't let it be somebody that understands covenant.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying to y'all is, and what I want to convey to y'all is, the punishment for committing adultery is death. And you might not be as blessed as I am to live and tell the story. Okay. Like I said, I really believe that the only reason why God spared me is because I had no clue. Y'all need to cut it out.
Okay, there she goes. And she is absolutely right. The punishment for adultery in the Old Testament, and it still stands, is stoning, is death. Okay, she's right. And that is where we also have this cognitive dissonance. Yeah, forgive me, it's a little bit early here. So when we falsely accuse someone of a capital crime like adultery, that the death sentence is applied, we better be very, very, very damn sure what the definition of adultery is. Because let us just say that in this particular scenario, somebody caught you to and dragged you to Yeshua. You picked you up, saw the man, dragged you guys to Yeshua. And there's a whole bunch of Pharisees like you saying, Stoner, 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 stoner. And what would Yeshua do? He knew the Torah inside out, my sisters, inside out. What would he do? Would he define what happened between you as adultery? Now, some of you Christians are going to be debating with me. I hear you already. Because you're going to tell me the same old, same old. that you're going to be following monogamy only, and you're going to say that Yeshua changed the laws on marriage somehow. But if Yeshua changed the laws on marriage in the New Testament, then he could not be the Messiah. The Messiah never changed an iota. He said he did not come to change the law. He did not come to take away from the law. He came to fulfill it, to complete it. Doesn't mean to delete it. The law remains, the marriage laws remains. And if you want to find out what the marriage laws are, you got to go right back to Exodus, right back to Leviticus. Go right back. We will talk about that more and more and more on Call for Wisdom. But according to Moses and according to the law of Yah that he gave Moses on Mount Sinai, that adultery, my sisters, requires you, a married man, to have sex with another man's wife. Now, this lady who's giving her testimony is obviously single. She's not married to anybody else, according to what she's giving us the information about. Therefore, the man cannot commit adultery with her. And he looks like he actually wanted to take her as his wife. It looks like he was actually trying to do it, but he didn't know. He's confused, and so are you. So here you are, a whole bunch of Pharisees behind you with the rocks, maybe even his wife with the rocks, and they're about to throw some stones on you. Mind you, they were not even there to witness the act, but hey, and again, they're probably not righteous either, because you had to be perfect in order to throw the first stone. That means you had to be following Torah. You had to be uplifting the commandments before you start throwing stones and killing people. But hey, let's say you think you are all there and you're justified before God, and here you are going to throw stones and falsely accuse. Well, that's a contradiction, because if you're falsely accusing somebody, you don't have the righteous stance to throw stones. Because this lady here did not commit adultery, and neither did the man. It was more like fornication, but that was not adultery, and there's no death sentence for that. There's other kinds of things for that, though, but not death sentences. Now, listen, my sisters, thank you so much for hanging out with my very first review. Please let me know how I did. Leave a comment, thumbs up, whatever you want to say. I know I got some haters along too who like to comment on my sections, but you guys are sharpening me with an iron and sword, and pull it out. Pull out the Torah. Give me the scriptures. Dig deep into the word and be careful before you bear false witnesses. And also, don't put correlation between the damage that she had with the baby with some so-called adultery, because according to the Bible, not me, she didn't commit adultery. Now, I do wish her well. I'm going to leave you a link. I'm hopefully going to find her on TikTok. I'll leave you a link where you can find the content creator and continue following her. And there we go. Blessings and have a great day.